Are we in the age of civil unrest? Nigeria is currently in the middle of a nationwide protest. The main goal of the protest is to end bad government. A similar protest is happening in Bangladesh with a specific demand for the government to scrap the quota system for civil service jobs due to an exploding unemployment rate caused by a bad economy. Up north in the British Isles, an immigration-related riot is raging across England, triggered by the stabbing death of 3 white children killed by a second-generation black immigrant. While many critics and unsuspecting viewers will see this protest as British whites rallying against immigrants, an alternative school of thought sees it as a symptom of prolonged, uncontrolled mass immigration that is causing a strain in the system and changing the demographics of the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, their western neighbor, the Republic of Ireland, is just recovering from its own immigration-related protest with the same cause, the killing of Irish children by an asylum seeker whom the government failed to deport after denying him asylum. While many may be gloating over the riot in the UK and saying that they are suffering from their karma for what they did as the British Empire, which from the perspective of the conquered nations was horrible, they may not have been the normal actions of some racist far-right Islamophobic white Briton, as framed on the pages of the newspaper and TV screens.
And what they want to do, usual way of the few controlling the many, they want to divide and rule, play culture off against culture, migrant off against indigenous population. And the more terrorist attacks they are, the more terrorist attacks they can stage, the more anger the indigenous population generates. So you have surging inter-community confrontations in France, means civil war is inevitable. Thousands take to streets in protest to protest Germany's immigration policy. It's all orchestrated, all of it. And if people don't get their heads together and realise they're pawns in a game they don't understand, they'll go on being a pawns in a game.
This claim is not random. In fact, the UN wrote about it in what they tagged replacement migration. This replacement migration trend is what is happening all over Europe and North America, and the natives of these nations are at risk of being completely replaced in their own lands by foreigners. In Nigeria, the protest is triggered by the high cost of living caused by the ill-advised move of the current president, Bola Tinubu, to float the naira-dollar exchange rate and remove the fuel subsidy amid some other policies. To be fair, his opponent in the last election, Peter Obi, also promised to remove the wasteful subsidy. While many will blame him because he gave the official authorization, those policies were really what the IMF, World Bank, and the G7 had wanted him to do if they were to loan him money to fix the economy that was devastated by the COVID lockdown, which every nation was forced to do, even though the experts knew the consequences.
Nigeria and Afghanistan, possibly the 2 most corrupt countries.
It is true that the economy was already in bad shape before COVID, but COVID made it 100 times worse. But that is not my point here. The point is that just as the protests in the UK and Ireland were set up in advance, the Nigerian protest is also a setup unknown to the protesters. This document, written in 2010, detailed how a protest in Nigeria is going to cause government collapse in 2026. Yes. How did they know 16 years in advance that that will happen? Unless they are engineering it. And COVID-19 was the John the Baptist to make it happen.
I know a lot of you are not observants, but if you are watching what is happening in Kano, Kaduna, and those northern states, it's not a rocket science. Something is about to hit this country if we are not careful. No be cruise. I beg, when I don't come out to protest, I beg, when I don't leave this thing, this protesting, it don't get out of hand, for real. We want to end bad governance, yes. We want to stop hunger, yes. People, they suffer, protest of war and all that, yes. But we don't want to burn Nigeria down. Now, me, I don't dey for Christian and Muslim fight before. And I know that this kind of gathering, one person will just talk one thing, one person just talk one thing like this. That smoke don't start like that. Fire don't catch. They don't turn into religious crisis. Do you understand? Before you know it, they don't dey by themselves, Christian and Muslim, it don't start. From there now, you don't know where it will escalate to.
If you know the history of Nigeria, how civil unrest can morph into tribal conflicts or religious wars, it is better we avoid the protest. Let us not fall into the trap of these people. a shadow government who want to destabilize Nigeria and the world as a whole in order to bring about their satanic agenda 2030.
So we have to prepare for a more angry world.
Time to be wise as the serpent and avoid becoming a useful idiot. It doesn't matter if you are a righteous protester or a paid agitator.